Okay, so let's talk about this word saved. We hear it all the time, right? But what does it actually mean? For a lot of people, it probably brings up this one specific idea, a kind of get out of jail free card for the afterlife. But is that really what the Bible is talking about? The idea is that we're all just kind of broken, and we're headed for this terrible, fiery punishment from a God who's, well, pretty angry. And the only way out, you got to say a specific prayer, accept Jesus, and bam, you've got your ticket to heaven.
But hold on a second, does that really sound like good news? I mean, a gospel that's all about being afraid? In this explainer, we're going to dig in and see if this very common understanding of salvation actually holds up to what the Bible says. And we'll explore an alternative that is, I think, radically and truly good.
All right, so first up, let's really break down this ticket to heaven idea. It's the version many of us heard growing up, and honestly, it has some pretty big consequences for how we think about faith and how we live our lives. So in this way of thinking, salvation is basically a transaction, right? It's all about getting your personal escape plan. It's kind of like fire insurance for when you die. The main focus is all on a future destination. And that means the whole process of actually changing and becoming more like Christ, what the Bible calls sanctification, that kind of becomes optional. It's like an extra, not the main reason you signed up. Okay, but here's the million-dollar question. Is this ticket to heaven gospel what guys like the Apostle Paul were actually talking about? Because if you look at the popular version today, the fear of hell is everything. It's the ultimate motivator, the big stick they use to get you to sign on the dotted line, presented as the single most important reason you should believe. But here's the thing. When you actually sit down and read what Paul wrote, you find something totally different. He's not trying to scare people. He's absolutely lit up about the incredible gift of forgiveness, about being made right with God, and, get this, experiencing the power of Christ's resurrection in our lives right now, today. And this, right here, shows you just how big the disconnect is. This whole idea of being tortured forever in a place called hell, the absolute cornerstone of the fear-based gospel, Paul never uses it in his evangelism. Not even one time. So if the good news isn't about escaping hell, then what in the world is it about? To figure that out, we've got to go all the way back to page 1 of the story. See, the story of the Bible doesn't start with us down here on earth trying to figure out how to get up to some faraway heaven. No, it starts with heaven and earth completely intertwined. They were overlapping realities. God's space and our space were one. He literally walked with us. But then, well, you know the story. We chose our own way. Sin entered the picture. And that choice, it created this huge tear, this chasm that ripped God's world and our world apart. And that's key, because the rest of the Bible isn't about God handing us an escape plan to get out of the world he made. It's the epic story of his grand rescue mission to heal that tear, to reconcile everything back to himself, and to stitch heaven and earth back together again. And the craziest part? He invites us to join in. Yeah, this whole idea of reconciliation, that's the absolute key to understanding the real good news Jesus talked about, what he called the gospel of the kingdom. This gospel, it's not about just sitting around waiting to die so you can go to heaven. It's a revolutionary invitation to declare your allegiance to Jesus as the true king of this world, right here, right now. It's about living under his good and loving rule today and bringing little pieces of his heavenly kingdom to earth. Okay, so what does that actually look like in real life? Well, first, it means you switch your primary allegiance from yourself or your country or whatever to King Jesus. It means you start trying to live by his rules: love, justice, forgiveness, mercy. And finally, it means we become his ambassadors, joining him in the work of healing and reconciling a very broken world. So, you see, in this view, salvation isn't just a one-and-done transaction. It's a lifelong process, a journey of being transformed from the inside out to become more and more like Jesus. And that whole sanctification thing we talked about, it's not optional anymore. It's the whole point. All right, I know what you might be thinking. What about all that stuff in the Bible about fire and judgment? That sounds pretty terrifying, doesn't it? Well, what if we've been looking at it all wrong? What if that divine fire isn't about eternal torture at all, but about purification? This is where it gets really interesting when you dig into the original language. That Greek word aionian that we often translate as eternal or never-ending, it can also just mean pertaining to the age to come. And think about it. All throughout the Bible, fire is used as a symbol of God's presence, burning away impurities and evil. It's right there in Hebrews, for our God is a consuming fire. That suggests the fire isn't someplace away from God. The fire is God's holy, purifying presence, which just burns away everything that isn't of Him. The Bible even says everyone will be salted with fire.
So, at the end of the day, what we have here are two totally different gospels, and they produce two totally different kinds of people with completely different motivations.
Okay, so look at the difference. With the fear-based gospel, what's your motivation? It's saving your own skin, right? Avoiding hell. So evangelism turns into this frantic rescue mission, trying to pull people out of the fire. But with the kingdom gospel, your motivation is loving allegiance to a good and beautiful king. And the mission isn't a rescue mission, it's a joyful invitation to come and be a part of what he's doing in the world. And suddenly, your view of other people totally changes. It's not us versus them anymore, it's they're just future brothers and sisters who haven't joined the family yet.
So that leaves us with one big question, a really important one. Are we saved from a place, or are we saved for a purpose? Is the good news just a fire escape from a building that's about to burn down? Or is it an invitation to become a co-worker with God in his incredible world-renewing project? Because how you answer that, well, it changes everything. Not just where you'll be in the future, but who you are and what you're living for right here today.